more recently, you've kind of worked on a little bit of a personal project. You got to work with Will Smith for his YouTube docu-series. What was that experience like? Because for those who don't know, it's Best Shape of My Life. And for you, um, I think the story kind of abruptly and unexpectedly changed. And you're like shown in there a little bit when it happens. What was that whole experience like for you?
Yeah. Well, if we had another 2 hours, I could really fully do it justice. But I mean, it was it's hard to explain. It was the show is kind of about life transformation, and well, not kind of, it is about that. And for me, it was entirely that. Like it did actually transform my life in a lot of ways. I when they first called me about it, they're like, we want to do a show basically about Will losing weight. And I was like, okay, cool. And I sat down and like thought about it, and I put together this treatment. They didn't ask me for it. It was really just sort of a series of interviews. But for me, like, I need to wrap my head around it and know where I'm coming from and make sure that like my intention for it is aligned with the mission, and we're doing it, for the same reasons. And I went in and was like, man, this is a huge opportunity to go way deeper, because anything physical is also emotional and spiritual and psychological and all these other things, because that's my own experience with it. I know that to be true. And like, that's got to be true for Will too. Don't know him, never met him, was going in sort of cold, but like, there's no way that it's just physical. And the team was like, no, we don't want to go too deep. He doesn't want to be super vulnerable. Like, that's not really the point of the show. He's cool with that, but he'll do that in another setting. This is just about weight loss. We want to have a little bit of fun, educate people, inspire people. That's it. And I was like, okay, cool, but we'll see. Because something was just like, I don't know.
You felt it.
Yeah, I hear you, but I don't know. I definitely don't agree, but we'll see. And it was enough to where it was like, I felt so strongly that like, I got to do it anyways, even though I know they're saying that it's not this, it's that, but like, there's something about this that we're going to get to, I'm sure of it. So I'm going to dive in and figure it out. And so I did. And, it never would have imagined that it like sort of took the trajectory that it did. Cause it was like, we're 6 months into shooting this thing. And we still don't even, we're like arguing over what the format is, what the story is. And like, the thing that really unlocked it, I think, for me and even for Will, and then, by proxy, the rest of the team, was like, I realized at a certain point there, one morning we would go to the gym or we would go to the track every morning at 4:30 in the morning and run. And then we would go back later to the gym and work out 7 days a week, more or less. And there was, large group of guys, he was writing the book. So like, his editor was there and his brother was there because he was helping on the book. And so there was a group of us working on the show, working on the book, his entourage that travels with him anyways. And we're all sort of training together and all sort of a part of it. And we tap into a little bit of the show, but it's, it's even larger group than we focused on. But point being, like, a couple of cars take us to the track every morning. That particular morning, I was like, hey, Will, I'm going to ride with you alone because I want to talk to you about structure and format or whatever. It'll be our meeting time in the 15-minute ride to the track. And he's like, yeah, cool. So I get in the car with him. It's just me and him. And I have some notes ready or whatever. And I'm going to pitch him another version of like how the show's going to go down, which is, that's happened like 10 times at this point. But like, I'm about to start getting into it. And I was like, you know what? Let me tell you, I'm going to scrap that for a minute. Let me tell you a story. So I told him the story about when I was 13 years old, going to that party at the end of the year. And because all of a sudden I realized, like, I think he needs to understand that I'm having my own experience with this thing and why, versus I get it as a creative and as a writer and a director. Like, it wasn't about that. It was like, as a human being and as a man that is going through this thing and actually unexpectedly having this visceral reaction to it all because it's so